What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the WrestleGasm YouTube channel, where today we are here with episode, I don't even know what episode, this 14 I think it might be, for the 0000 challenge on TEW 9 Fusion Pro Wrestling. Now we are here with FPW Live 33, or as you can see, it has more aptly been titled The Last Rodeo. We are in the Ironwood Hall in Austin, Texas for a sold-out crowd of 400 people. Obviously, if you missed the last episode, this is the retirement show of James Storm. Obviously, he might go and do another show like JCW before he retires in-game, but as far as FPW is concerned, this is his last event. He might continue in a behind-the-scenes role, depending on if we can lower the price of his contract, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Either way, I will say this event in particular, the show, I'm going to be spending a fair bit of money on this show for reasons that I didn't really expect or want, but I'll explain what those are as we get into it. It's kind of these first two matches that switch things up quite a bit from what I originally had planned. I'll explain what I mean when I get to the second match. So we start with a decent match in which Ryan Davidson defeated Dak Draper in 10-16 by pinfall with a frog splash. Dak Draper is here on a local worker deal. We do have a large enough roster that I don't really have to do this, but I did it anyways for a couple reasons, again, one of which I will explain in the next match. But also, Dak Draper is someone I'm familiar with from his Ring of Honor days and whatnot. And I do like Dak Draper, and I was interested in signing him earlier on in the series, but he was quite expensive. However, he just hasn't been signed or booked in this save, so his popularity has drained, which means his contract prices have drained. So he's affordable now, but he is rusty. So I think after this show, I probably will sign him to a full-on contract, try and give him some matches to get rid of that ring rust, because I do think, based on his skills, he will be a good worker for us if we can get him back into in-ring condition. But the second match... Oh, it wasn't the second match. Maybe I put it as the third. I don't know. Anyways, in a decent match, Shazza McKenzie defeated Johnny Robbie in 9:30 by pinfall with the Overdrive, 42-7 rating. This was actually really good from both of them. They have good chemistry, which it would be the reason, but yeah, that's definitely a high performance for both of them, because I've been going through and looking at people's performance ratings and the way they progress over time. Yeah, that's really good from both of them, so I'm definitely happy. Okay, this is the match I was talking about. In a decent match, Guillermo Rosas and Vinny Massaro defeated Ashley Dunn and Kid Lycos in 9:47 when Guillermo Rosas pinned Kid Lycos. Ashley Dunn was the weak link, that's fine. 47 rating is awesome. So there's a bit of a backstory to this match. Originally, my plan was it was going to be Guillermo Rosas versus Ryan Davidson in a one-on-one match. But then I kind of had this idea for a storyline that I want to do. Now, I was going to have a backstage segment for this, but I don't really want to do backstage segments until we get a weekly TV show, so I would envision it as just a video that was recorded and posted on FPW socials, which is why I haven't actually booked it into the show, because it's more of a headcanon thing. But the idea is Vinny Massaro, obviously he's had a couple matches. I think he's had 2 matches for FPW so far. But he's been our initial road agent, so he's a board member. Canonically, he is almost like a general manager, but he's been an FPW board member. But in this hypothetical video, he's gone to fellow FPW board member Devon, and he said, hey, this whole situation surrounding James Storm and wrapping up his career has kind of put a lot of things into perspective for me. I don't think I have long left in the ring either. So, I want to try and get back in the ring for FPW before I hang up the boots as well. And in order to do that, I want to bring my tag team partner, Guillermo Rosas, to some tag team gold. Now, I know that as a member of the FPW board, that would be extremely unfair of me to just give myself that opportunity. So I'm coming to you and I'm saying, hey, I am willing to step down from my board duties if it means I can have some form of opportunity. I don't know how you want to book it, but just I will step down from my role if I can try and earn this spot. And Devon said, okay, I'm willing to try and put this to the board, but I can't just like throw you into an opportunity or anything like that. I'm going to give you guys a tag match on this next show, and we'll see how you guys fare. So that's what this match is. They're facing Ashley Dunn and Kid Lycos, who are from our, not developmental, technically it is developmental, but we're not treating it as that, it's just a company that we own. They're from North Wrestling in the UK. The reason I'm going for them as the opponent was every show I pre-book it. So like on the day of the event, I'll go into the pre-booking tab, book the whole card, and then I will use that pre-booking list so I know who to give the night off to, right? Now, admittedly, that does mean there can be some issues where, like, if I need to change the card on the fly, if someone for whatever reason can't make it to a show, like we've had people be stuck at the airport, then there may not be an opponent for them because I've given everyone else the night off, because I don't want them to be there and not get booked and get upset about it. So because of this change of the match card, like my change of heart with the match card, where Vinny wasn't going to have a match on this show, but we're still going to do the segment, and then Guillermo's going to face Ryan Davidson, I then had to switch it up, because then it's like, okay, well, I don't really have anyone to face Rosas and Massaro, and I don't really have anyone to face Davidson at this point. If I didn't give Ruben Steele the night off, I could have just put those two teams together. But that's not the case. So I got Dak Draper from a local worker deal to face Davidson, and I got Ashley Dunn and Kid Lycos on a Borrow developmental deal for this match. I do believe it means I have to pay travel fees for Dunn and Lycos, which is going to cost us a decent bit, but we're making good money, and this is a big event, so I'm okay with it. Anyways, I explained that for way too long. We're going to get back on with the show now. That is the situation here. In a decent match, Trey Lamar defeated Rachel Rose in 8:37 by submission with a Lion Tamer. 45 is really good. Very, very happy with that. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Zeta Zhang defeated Promise Braxton 9:40 by submission with a sleeper hold. 42, again, that's really good. Cannot complain about that. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Superiority Complex defeated Tormenta and Raider in 12:28 when Stephen Wolf pinned Dolce Tormenta with a treaty breaker. Stephen Wolf was head and shoulders, of course. He is the heavyweight champion after all, the world champion to be specific. 42 is really good. I just thought Stephen Wolf has been so focused on the world title picture, and he doesn't currently have a number one contender, so I was like, you know what, we haven't had a Superiority Complex match in a while, so let's do that. Plus, I need to keep giving Dolce some appearances because she's still very upset at the release of Madman Fulton, so I have to try and rectify that if I can. In a good match, Lowrider defeated Jack Evans in 9:32 by submission. This gets a 45 segment rating. Now, we have done this match before, but it was when Jack Evans still had ring rust, so I wanted to give it another shot because I feel like this would be a great match. Lowrider underperforming a little bit there, only a little bit, but either way, pretty good match. I'm not going to complain too much. Now, I believe next is the main event, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. In a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, James Storm and the Von Erichs defeated John Schuyler and the Dawson brothers in 15:57 when Marshall Von Erich pinned John Schuyler with a moonsault. So I was trying to figure out for quite a while what I wanted Storm's final FPW match to be, and there was nothing specific that stood out. There was no loose ends to tie up. There was no significant rival from his past that I could bring in. The only person kind of from his past that I consider bringing in was Frankie Kazarian, because Kazarian is also retiring, so I was like, you know what, let's bring him in for a one-night deal or something, but he was a bit too pricey. And of course they have history through like Fortune, but I don't know if that's significant. I was looking for someone on the level of like Bobby Roode, but obviously Roode's retired and working with WWE, so that doesn't work. But this was kind of the best option I could think of because we're in Texas, so the Von Erichs are pretty significant here. You know, there's some correlation there with James Storm being the cowboy and matching up these combos. You know, James Storm, obviously his most recent rivalry was with Stephen Wolf, but before that he just came out of a feud with John Schuyler, so that makes sense. The Von Erichs just came off a title shot against the Dawsons, so it's one big combo. I feel like this is probably the best we could have done booking-wise for Storm's final match, and I'm very happy with it. I feel like this is a really good match to send him off. Obviously, when someone's retiring, you don't have to do this every time, obviously, but it's usually a good idea to have them put over their opponent. But because this is a 6-man tag, he's essentially putting over the Von Erichs. Not putting over in the traditional sense of letting them win, but, you know, he's still bolstering the Von Erichs a bit by teaming with them to a victory. So definitely not going to complain about that. Plus, I don't know if the Dawsons ever would have lost in another scenario because they're going to be relatively undefeated as the tag team champions. So yeah, I just feel like this was a fitting match. But then the final segment, James Storm closes out the show by thanking the FPW crowd for indulging him on the final chapter of his career. He apologizes that it was a short run, but he had fun nonetheless. He celebrates in the ring with the Von Erichs before most of the FPW roster come out to celebrate with him. Chants ring out the Ironwood Hall for the Cowboy. Only a 26. Okay, there's a couple errors with this. Because Guillermo Rosas and Vinny Massaro are both here, that's advanced their storyline, which it shouldn't have. That was a mistake on my part. But a 26 segment rating, everyone's there on like non-speaking appearances, and James Storm is cutting a promo. Normally a James Storm promo is really good, but I feel like the amount of people there in non-speaking roles is probably what lowered it. A bunch of bonuses. Penalized for poor momentum, awful gimmick. Okay, alright, well, yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a letdown. I hope that doesn't bring down the rating too much. 46, I can live with a 46. I think it would have been better without that final segment, but I can definitely live with a 46. Finish the show, address the locker room. So we know we want to praise Dolce Tormenta. Not that she really deserves it performance-wise, but we want to get her back in our good books. And then I think, you know what, we're just going to send off James Storm with a praise as well. A thank you very much for being here and doing your thing and bringing the Cowboy to Fusion Pro. Financial report, we lost $1,000. Not as bad as I would have expected, so I'm not gonna really complain about that too much. Popularity recap, we go up in almost every US region except the Northwest. That's fine. Mid-South obviously is where we want to get the most pop, and we went up there, so good stuff. All right, that does it for the Last Rodeo. I'm gonna head back to the main screen. If there is anything worth showing there, I will do that. If not, I will see you guys for the next event. We are back for FPW Live number 34. We are in front of a crowd of 454 people at the Marchesa Theater. We're actually getting our attendance is growing quite rapidly, which is really good. So we have to keep changing theaters quite a bit. So it's not a sellout this time because this theater has a 500 seat capacity, but hopefully we'll sell it out in the next couple shows. This event rather, nothing crazy eventful, not anything drastic going on. There's some cool stuff, some stuff that sets us up in the long run, but nothing wild. And in fact, the main event isn't like it's kind of a random match, but it's two of our highest performers, so I feel like it'll give us a good rating, but it's not like a match that's been built up to or anything. It's just two really solid performers, so hopefully it does well. But before we can get to the main event, let's start with this match here. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Shazza McKenzie defeated Lowrider in 10:22 by pinfall with a Shaz-tastic stunner. 45, really good segment rating to open up the show. Shazza needed some momentum. Lowrider doing better than usual. He's kind of been sinking to like the mid 40s, early 40s lately, but this jumps him back up a bit, so very happy about that. Shazza obviously doing better than usual. We saw that in the previous event, but they had chemistry in the last one. Not in this one, but still having that 40 is really solid, so I'm happy about that. In a good match, Caljack defeated Ryan Davidson in 10:49 by pinfall, 44 segment rating. Still no storyline attached to the Caljack and Paul London arc. There will be soon enough, I can promise you that. But I couldn't go a whole episode without, booking Caljack in a match. And this one has a bit of context to it in a way. Ryan Davidson and Cowjack have fought twice before in FPW, and Ryan Davidson won both times. Obviously, that was before Paul London swooped in and set Cowjack on this new path. So Cowjack finally getting his redemption after 2 straight losses to Ryan Davidson. So good stuff there. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Promise Braxton defeated Ruben Steele in 10:08 by submission, a 41 segment rating. Pretty good stuff. Again, not much to really discuss there. Then John Schuyler comes out to the ring and gets on the mic, where he says that he had the guts to challenge someone the caliber of James Storm when no one else did, and just because he lost, he's getting painted in a poor light. With the Ultimate 8 series around the corner, John plans on taking all of the people who mocked him for losing to Storm twice and shoving their words back in their face, because in less than 2 months, he's the one who will have his hand raised and announced as the winner of the 2028 Ultimate 8 series. Tonight's nothing but a warm-up for him before the tournament that awaits him. So a couple things to cover here. Obviously, first of all, yes, the Ultimate 8 series is coming up very soon. That should be the next episode. I believe both nights of the Ultimate 8 series we're going to do in one episode, just like we did last time. James Storm was only in an off-screen role here, but he still shows up even if he's off-screen, just because he was mentioned. But the fact that you guys can see him here at all means he has remained on the roster. I didn't realize this, but when an active wrestler of yours retires, there's an automatic renegotiation that it does. So I was able to get his contract down a bit to stay on as a road agent. Just a little bit though. It's not that much cheaper. So if we need to make budget cuts, he probably will still be on the line. But for now, he's just working as a road agent. He's not officially a board member, but when I say board members, that's more of a storyline thing anyways. He may join the board eventually, but I want to find the moment to make that work. For now, he's purely just here as a road agent. In a good match, John Schuyler defeated Jack Evans in 12:46 by pinfall with the spoiler alert. So this, obviously, the match takes place right after the promo. A 42 segment rating is still pretty good, even though we got some bad no's. They don't seem to click, which is, it's fine, I guess. We don't have to have every combo work out, but yeah, John Schuyler, I just wanted to, because John Schuyler is one of our better performing wrestlers, and as he said in the promo, even though the promo was a little bit skewed, it was told from his character perspective, saying that I was the only one brave enough to step up to James Storm. Obviously, Stephen Wolf did as well, and yeah, it was a very kind of biased promo, maybe not the most factual, but that's what you get from a kind of heel wrestler. We don't use faces and heels, but he is very much a heel. In a decent match, Dolce Tormenta defeated Ace Perry in 8:46 by submission, gets a 44 segment rating. Again, we're just trying to get Dolce booked so that we can improve her morale. She is at the bottom of our performance rating wise, she's at the bottom, as evident by this, but even if she had good morale, she still doesn't perform that well, so there's not really a reason for me to keep her, but I just like her, so I would like to keep her. So hopefully we can improve her morale, and this performance rating will bump up a little bit in future matches. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Guillermo Rosas and Vinny Massaro defeated the Renegade Twins and Alpha Zoe and Trey Lamar in 11:45 when Vinny Massaro pinned Charlotte Renegade. A 43 segment rating, pretty happy with that. So this was a number 1 contenders match for the Tag Team Championship. Obviously this kind of spins out of the Last Event storyline where Vinny Massaro went to Devon and said, hey, I might be reaching my finish line as well. I would love to go for the tag titles, but I've got to step back from the board if I want to do that. Devon's like, I'll see what I can do. And because they managed to beat North Wrestling's Kid Lycos and Ashley Dunn in the last show, they earned themselves a spot in this match. And I don't know why I went with this specific combo of teams. I think the Renegade Twins and Alpha Zoe and Trey Lamar have picked up a few wins recently, since the Team 3D Invitational, so I thought it made sense to have them in this match. And then other teams like TNT need to kind of build up a bit of momentum before we can start giving them shots like this. So it's a little bit all over the place. There's no clear, this team's doing really well, they should be in contenders match. It's a little bit, pick and choose, but but I'm happy with it nonetheless. Anyways, this was the most significant match in terms of... This match has the most substance to it, I guess, in terms of the booking. So it could have main evented, but I knew it wasn't going to do quite as well performance-wise as what I believe the main event will, which, if I'm not mistaken, is up next. Yes, it is. In a superb match, Marshall Von Erich defeated Sonico in 14:24 by submission with an Iron Claw. So I have noticed that the Von Erichs both have kind of dropped a bit in performance ratings. I don't know exactly why. I know Marshall Von Erich has some chilling momentum, but even as his performance rating is sinking, it's still pretty good. It's still in the kind of top half of the roster. And Sonico is someone we can always rely on to have a good match. Like, he's almost at 60 there. He has cracked 60 before. So 54 is a really good main event, I feel. Again, not a lot of substance to this, not any like meaning to it other than just wanting to have a good main event. I didn't really have much else planned. But, you know, Marshall picking up the win over Sonico, potential spot in the Ultimate 8 series, we'll see. Either way, let's finish the show. We got a 48 overall rating. That's pretty good. I think that beats our last show. We gained pop in 18 regions, addressed the locker room. So obviously Dolce Tormenta, we want back in our good books. And then PJ Drummond, our secondary referee, we also want back in our good books. He's a bit upset at the moment because he has a poor gimmick, I believe it was. So Dolce was happy. PJ seemed pleased. Financial report. We only lost $100. I'm more than happy with that. That's awesome. Didn't gain points in a lot of regions, but we gained it in the Mid-South, which is where we really want at the moment. So definitely not complaining about that. Okay, we're going to head back to the main screen, and we're going to wrap up the episode there. So we'll do a recap, see what our finances are like, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so as you can see there, we gained 6.4k viewers. I don't really know how that compares. Viewerships. Okay, that was our highest viewed show. You love to see it. Very happy with that. Financially, we're doing incredibly well. We've gained 1.2k in the first 2 weeks, even after hosting a show. So I'm very happy with that. And that's also before factoring in the developmental income, which is like one of the main pieces of income we get. I think actually, other than sponsorship, that's like our highest income. So yeah, very happy with that indeed. I don't really know what else to go over. There's not much to cover, really. We'll have a look at North real quick. I signed a new booker. I'm not familiar with this guy, but he had good booking skills, so I was like, that just makes sense. They're earning us, yeah, like 3 to 4k per month, which I'm really happy with. Show history, they're running it. Oh, they got a 54. They're doing better than us. God damn. Yeah, no, they're hosting some pretty solid shows. Emerson Jane is someone I thought about releasing just because she's a bit pricier, but North isn't in any kind of financial troubles at the moment, so I'm not too bothered by her staying on the roster, same as Rampage Brown. But yeah, I don't think there's... Oh, actually, no, there is one thing I want to look at. Well, two things, I guess. Firstly, I signed this guy. This is someone that was just generated by the game. So this is a completely fictional wrestler. But the reason I signed him is this. He has a 78 booking skill. Now, it felt a little unfair to sign him because just a randomly generated rookie wrestler automatically having 78 booking skill and just putting him on the booking team doesn't seem right, but it's not like I did anything to cause that. That's what the game has provided me with. So I have put him on the booking team, which means we've still got 2 more slots left. I don't know if we'll fill them up just yet, but either way, he's still a rookie wrestler, so I might try and find a way to incorporate him as a fresh talent. He debuted in December of 2026. We're now August of 2028, and these are the only matches he's had which have had poor performances anyways, so I don't know what exactly we'll do with him, but I wanted him for that booking skill and because he's cheap. So we'll see what happens, but that was worth signing, I feel. And then the other thing I want to look at if we sort by money, JCW have really dropped the ball financially. Like, they have started forking out a lot of cash. And I think production seems to be the main reason. They dropped in ticket sales quite a bit, dropped in sponsors, but they've had, I believe, the same issues as TNA have, where they just keep falling to small, rising to medium, and just repeating. So maybe that's just kind of a common thing in this save. Maybe that just keeps happening. So obviously we're not going to be able to afford 93 grand worth of debt, but if we were medium size and we had the money, I would absolutely look at buying out JCW. The other one was Rev Pro. They've gotten back up a bit, but only a few days ago they were in the red by a couple thousand. So if we were small, I absolutely would have looked at doing something about that. If we had North and Rev Pro, we would basically just be pulling a monopoly on the UK wrestling scene. Not quite as bad as how NXT UK fucked it over, but you know, it is what it is. Either way, I just wanted to show you guys, I like looking at the finances of other promotions. Well, I mean, if we look, the other ones here are developmentals, so it doesn't really matter what their finances are like. But I just like looking at those finances, because if we can take over other companies and do the same thing we did with North, where we can fix their financial issues and try and make them a profitable source of income for us, I think that's perfect. That's why we're doing so financially well at the moment. So that's definitely something I want to look at doing. Either way, that does it for this episode. Like I said earlier, the next episode is going to be the Ultimate 8 series, which I'm really excited for. That's our annual tournament to crown the #1 contender for the heavyweight title. I do have some ideas of who I want in the tournament in terms of maybe some guest wrestlers. If those ideas work out, it's going to be a very expensive tournament, but I'm okay with that because I really want to make this an awesome tournament. So yeah, hope you guys are excited for that. I'm very excited for it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a bit more of a laid back episode. Like, we had the James Storm retirement in the first event, and the second event was just kind of a casual one. But Ultimate Series next, so it's going to be a huge one. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.